Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SATAC. I hope you're all having a very good day today. I know I am. Today we are looking down the barrel of TOROSQN versus the Earth Federation forces. As always, the first thing to do is decide the map. So, let's get it done. Okay. We'll get the dice rolling. Only on the Caucasus today, so 3, 2, 1. Number 4. Okay, which means that it is Tbilisi versus Sukhumi on a clear winter day. We'll get the map changed, and then we'll do a coin flip. And I accidentally made myself invisible instead of the dice rolls. Never mind. You've been informed that one of these teams has fantastic skins. Mika, I don't know if you've ever had any interest in casting a SATAC match, but the streamer that is intended to take on the match for the one following this one is unfortunately not available. So if you've ever wanted to cast a SATAC match, they are looking for someone to fill in. But I hope the rest of you guys are doing well today. Hello, Iaxon. Hello, Mika. EFF Mkasu. Hatsune Miku. Pekado. Spiritually Trash. You're busy then? No worries. And Moldy B. Good to see all of you. I hope you're excited to see Toro and EFF face it off. Let's just get everything all set up. And the server is switching as we get everyone joined in. Let's take a moment to see who's fighting. EFF versus Toro. I'm excited. These are two teams that I haven't had the pleasure of casting before. So we'll see what they have to show us. Important to say thank you as well to the sponsors of SATAC. Heat Blur, Eagle Dynamics, VKB Magnitude 3, Decker Ironworks, Razbam, TACView, and Lot ATC. TACView today will be providing our real-time telemetry and playback for the purposes of this battle. Let's see. Okie dokie. Let's get all connected up. There's always so many things that you have to get working and ready. But it does make the viewing experience that much more enjoyable. Let's get all set up, and it looks like we're rock and rolling. Okie dokie. All right. Communicating with the organizers. That guy. Hey, Salty John. Hey, for Cycle Jesus. All right. Toro has picked Tails. They're the first person to say. So let's quickly do a coin flip. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. It is Tails. So that means that Toro gets to pick starting side. We'll get everyone spawning in and getting ready. Tails never fails, baby. Well, I think statistically speaking, it's probably around about 50% of the time. Though I guess it's slightly less than 50%, seeing as it could theoretically land on its side. I see that we have Toro and EFF joining up on the server in the meantime. Could a virtual coin land on its side? Well, that's a good question. Thank you very much for the follows, EC Mod, Hatsune Miku, and Zero Apple, and Aiko. I'll make sure that you guys have something good to look at in just one moment, as I get my equipment all set up. Press the button. Welcome to the all too familiar Caucasus Mountains. We've done plenty of fighting around here before, and if we go switch to the satellite view, we should see that it is ice cold outside. The temperature outside is 2 degrees, so it's not exactly freezing. We see the first of the EFF start to spawn in, and one of them is in an F-18. Okay, no worries. And we'll wait until they're all spawned in to do a quick look at their lineup. But then again, we can go and have a look at Toro Squadron. Looks like we have Lookovi, Werewolf, Fur 109, Aspar, and Pyrox. Which means that we should be waiting for just one more to log in. But with that being said, hopefully we get a look at their beautiful skins in just a second, because I have checked out these Toro skins and they look gorgeous. So how are you guys feeling today? Also, I've noticed this red light on the side here. Does that... Oh, you know what? Does that mean that the APU is on? Okay, okay. It's like the F-16s are electing to taxi over before rearming. Big fan of Toro skins, yeah. As they start taxiing down the runway. Hope you guys are all doing well today. And excited for a little bit of SATAC combat. Well, I have some skins for EFF. For some of the teams, particularly teams that originate from places like China and Southeast Asia, where communications platforms like Discord aren't necessarily their go-to. You know, maybe they use WeChat or something else. Or even some of the teams have not really interacted with Twitch before, as most live streaming from certain parts of the world is done on platforms like Bilibili. So occasionally it takes a little bit of figuring out, but I believe that we have some skins for the EFF team. Let's see if we can see anyone is getting moving. All right, the F-18s. I don't have a skin for the F-18s, so these should just be looking normal. So we have the F-18s heading along with an F-16 and a J-11. And anything else, and Makasu in an F-15C. So it's an eclectic mix, but we'll see what they do with it. Meanwhile, everyone starts making their way down to the runway. Aspar and Pyrox wasting no time, electing to get onto the runway before you get those wing bags on. Yeah, an interesting mix. In fact, that's probably one of the most diverse lineups we've seen. F-18s, F-16s, a J-11 and an F-15. Plenty of interesting opportunities. Alright. We see the first of these beautiful Toro skins. I don't think you'll find a shinier F-16 anywhere in the world. Look at this livery. Toro. Absolutely spectacular. Now, I'm going to make a fool of myself and say Toro, I believe, is Spanish for bull. And is this a Spanish roundel here? There we go. Everyone's looking pretty with these shiny planes in a snowy and sunny day. Look at that. Oh, gosh, that'll take your eye out with that brightness. Wonder if the F-18s are starting to get their paint jobs on. Not just yet, it seems like. Alrighty. That Roman squad, that's true. SPQR did have some very interesting liveries. What are we looking at here? Fortunately for EFF, doesn't look like they've elected to put on their skins just yet. Did double check with them that they're all working, so hopefully they'll put them on shortly. As the J11 is heading down the runway with its ECM pods on the wingtips on this beautiful day here in the Caucasus. Have you guys been doing any flying? See that we've got some announcements in the ED Discord, some updates about the BO-105 and the Kiowa Warrior, for those of you who are fans of the rotors. Of course, we try not to think too much about helicopters here, because we don't understand how they work and find them frightening. Got a scrim later today? Ooh, who are you facing off against? And one of the EFFs has gone for the Blue Angels. 45th? Oh, lovely. That should be good fun. You'll have to let me know how it goes. F-16s putting on ECM pods. F-18s sticking to the centerline and wing tanks, such as it is so far. Looking good. Of course, the limitations of SATAC dictate that only 4 AIM-120s or Fox 3 missiles are permitted. So, the names we have on EFF are Mr. Feihudu Dailo, JXT514, Li Tong, Zero Apple, BYD, and Makasu. I really hope that one of the J11 or the F-16s put on their custom skins. Scrim performance is classified tip-top secret. Oh, you guys can't even tell me in secret? Oh man, too tight-lipped. Here I was thinking that I was all special and I could get the inside scoop. Never mind. I definitely have the Toro liveries for the F-18s. I hope that they worked properly, so I know what they look like, and they look spectacular. Yeah. Toro Squadron V3. Maybe they just haven't put them on just yet. Heavyweight fighters in front. The wake turbulence can be rough, causing a delay between takeoffs. They can, yes. So they'll have to be careful. Might just get Toro to double check that they've sent me the right liveries when we get to the second round, because I'd hate to think that I haven't got them. As they line up in spectacular formation. Oh, here's an interesting choice. In fact, we haven't seen this yet. The decision to bring the Lightning pod on the F-18. this is interesting as well. Some towels. Oh boy. I've been waiting for the day that we see this. This is some exciting tactics. Well, we'll get them to resend the things. Okay, both teams ready. Get set. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Whoop, go, go, go. There we go. One day I'll say go, go, go without mistyping it as GP. As they take off in beautiful formation. The first flight, both supporting Talds. Haha, good luck to both teams. Let's do a poll. So, let us know who you're supporting here. So, the way this works, both teams take off from their spawning airfields and then fly towards this circle in the middle of the map. Once one team enters the circle, a 5-minute countdown starts, and if the other team doesn't get into the circle, then they lose. And if one team is in the circle for 5 minutes uncontested, it's a win for them. But what's more likely is that both teams will enter the circle and it will become contested. At that point, it's last plane standing. So we see Makasu take to the skies in the F-15C. Even though the F-15E is out these days, the C remains a favourite for some pilots, as the lack of conformal fuel tanks do provide a certain degree of lower drag. Haven't seen EFF, but Toro looked good intact. Excellent. They haven't put on their liveries. Oh no. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Never mind. And we see the eclectic mix of J11s, F-15s, F-16s, and F-18s all taking off. Strangely enough, electing to take 3 SD-10s and R-77. The SD-10s, of course, magnetically attached and not requiring any pylon because of the magic of Eagle dynamics. Did the 15C only bring 6 sticks? Yeah, in fact, in both the F-15C and E, lots of people elect not to bring sidewinders on the outer pylons. That must have something to do with some element of drag that they want to eliminate. Of course, you can also put AIM-120s on those pylons, so occasionally you would see teams put... well, it looks like EFF is winning the vote for the first round. So you could potentially bring 4 AIM-120s, 2 Sparrows, and 2 AIM-9Ms, but looks like the choice to not engage with weight and drag is desirable here for the team. As we see the F-16s take off, they're just not bringing jamming pods on the 16s, actually. An interesting choice, as EFF has decided to bring jamming pods. You can't switch between Fox 1 and Fox 3 on the E model. You have to fly the 3s first, which, depending on situation, is annoying. No kidding. You know what? I didn't actually know that. Now that I think about it, every time that I've flown the F-15E, it's either been all Fox 1s or all Fox 3s. Missile reject cycles through missile types. Ooh, look. Meanwhile, we have the Toro Squadron planes with their TALDs taking off. That's so cool. I'm so excited that we get to see TALDs today. But will they work? That's the question. Let's use TAC View to have a look at the terrain. So as we see both teams separate out, we can see the F-15 for EFF piloted by Makasu is going far south, and BYD's J-11 is going far north. The F-16s pairing off in one group, and the F-18s pairing off in a second. Meanwhile, Toro is flying in tight formation, with the F-18s carrying the TALDs that are leading the formation, with their friends following in behind, including those carrying the Lightning Pod. Plenty of mountains to hide in here for Fox 3 missiles, so it will be interesting to see, as sometimes terrain is the only thing that can save you from certain missiles at certain ranges. No center bags on the TALD trucks, nope. Oh, there we go. They were hidden from me as well. Not much to be gained by losing that center pylon, so you might as well bring the fuel. Not that the F-18 is lacking in fuel. Who's winning? Don't worry, you haven't missed any of the fighting yet. We are in the first round, and Toro Squadron has entered the circle. Meanwhile, they are contested, which means that the fight is on. We see the separation between the teams at about 92 nautical miles, as Aspar and Pyrox are leading the way at 39,000 feet. F-16's going absolutely hog wild at 40,000 feet. I reckon we'll see a Fox 3 any second now. You know you're flying high when you've gone through the contrail layer, and then the contrails stop again, flying on the edge of the Earth. Meanwhile, at 23,000 feet, Li Tong and XT-514 are en route, along with Makasu, who is just below 40,000 feet and going at light speed. Alright. Pyrox and Aspar are just going absolutely wild at maximum altitude. The sound barrier is nothing to an F-16 with violent intent. They start breaking off, and we see the opening shots of the battle about to take place. We see the pincer of EFF begin to close around the tight formations of Toro. Such a shame about the liveries. I do apologise for that, as it is almost undoubtedly my fault, as it always is, and I take full responsibility. Aspar and Pyrox currently only 46 nautical miles away, and Makasu is actually the closest. I wouldn't be surprised if they're lining up for a missile shot. Techneticum, if you have the time, and it's okay if you don't, I did download the Toro skins, but unfortunately the ones for the F-18 didn't work. So if we have any opportunity to double check with someone from Toro, and we see a missile off the wings, that I have the correct F-18 skin, then that would be wonderful. MiG-21 style. Okay, A-120C shot going in towards Pyrox, who no doubt will be aware of it, hopefully reacts, and launches a missile themselves, electing to get it off the rails before going defensive. We have two missiles in the air at high altitude, Hopefully Pyrox hasn't taken this one for granted, as it is coming in at speed. And Pyrox doesn't get away in time. Unfortunately, the first kill is against Pyrox. An SD-10 fired towards Aspar. Pyrox taking slightly too long, I think, to recognize that missile being a threat. This SD-10 coming in. Going to have a hard time tracking this plane through the ground clutter. And gets away from it. Meanwhile, we see that there are Tulds coming off the wings. These confusing little decoys serving to confuse those in the sky, appearing as F-18s. We'll see if they work. Well, there you go, Laser Pig, if you were wondering what the plan was. Tulds coming off the wings. With the F-15, it was to get up high and go at light speed. Tulds do work against players. They look, for all intents and purposes, just like F-18s. They're doing the wall, exactly. As we see, the J-11 has smelt blood in the water and launches another SD-10 towards the southern group. Look at all of this in the air in an AIM-120C. Shots in both directions at 15 nautical miles for 109. Going highly defensive. Still has his Tulds on the wings. They're going to be causing plenty of drag, so don't get complacent. You don't want to hold on to those for the whole time. SD-10 coming in at plenty of speed. But does it have what it takes to connect? I'm thinking no. In fact, I can't even quite see what it's tracking. There we go, there's the jet, and that SD-10 is well and truly trashed. As there are just Tulds in the air, this AIM-120C still tracking, but not with quite enough speed to make any kind of impact here. BYD still sitting comfortably at 40,000 feet, still with two Fox 3s, as we see the squadrons of Tulds occupying the sky and confusing the radars of EFF. EFF comfortably hiding behind their shield wall of Tulds. Li Tong probably interrogating the radar and wondering what exactly is going on. And to give a bit of context, here's what it looks like. Tulds all over the place, appearing for all intents and purposes to be F-18s, but will they fall for it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully EFF is not thinking that they accidentally forgot to bring 6 extra players as the Tulds fly through the sky. As long as you ignore their speed. Exactly. Looks like Fur is beginning to launch a couple of Tulds as well. They come off the wing. Not smart bombs or anything of the sort. AIM-120C coming off the wing from Aspar, who has spotted Makasu coming in. Hopefully Makasu doesn't get too complacent. It can be difficult to dodge at this kind of altitude. It's definitely sniffed that there is something happening in the air. The Tulds now beginning to merge. This missile will potentially just not quite have enough energy, especially if it starts wiggling like that. It's trying to paddle its way through the air, but it just doesn't have the speed. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And no luck. Li Tong thinking, my radar tells me that I'm merged with several Tulds right now. That eagle is going very fast. That AMRAAM shaker. I know, AIM-120C coming off the wings from Werewolf, who gets an AIM-7 in response, likely just saying, get away from me. Huladao having to rely on the ground to spoof this one. And it looks like unless the maneuvering goes totally wrong, it will get away. And there we see the AIM-120 lose track. An AIM-120C fired towards 3 balls, who's going to have to pull some shapes to get away from this. Not fast enough. 3 balls gets impacted by a AIM-120C. We have 2 down for Toro. Another Tald coming off as Li Tong and Fur are only 7 nautical miles away from each other. Lukovi fires an AIM-120C against a very, very cold F-15. Werewolf and Li Tong coming towards each other at speed. AIM-120Cs coming off the rails here in both directions at quite a lot of speed. Let's have a look and see if this one makes it. Dodges just underneath the ground clutter. And this one also impacts the trees. So it was dangerous, but no dice. This AIM-7 just flying all by itself. What's the TAS of the Eagle? God only knows. A lot. It seems quite comfortable. It is going at 1,075 knots. It's on an adventure. They shot a Told? Well, they might have. AIM-120C is going off in both directions, rather an SG-10. Functionally similar. Let's see if it has the legs to deal with Aspar, who is getting very defensive. Looking shiny, though. 1,000 knots, I know. Lukovi firing an AIM-120C as they go in both directions. This one at quite some speed. Lukovi very cold against it, though, and it looks like it will probably fall for the ground clutter. Lukovi, don't get complacent now. Lukovi. Oh, jeez. Okay, okay. Cutting it a little bit close, but we'll say that they knew exactly what they were doing as this AIM-120C chasing the J-11, doing the AMRAAM shaker as it runs out of energy. Oh, please tell me this is going for a Tald. It is! The Talds work, and an AIM-120C takes out a decoy. AIM-120C fired towards Lukovi, who is ice cold. Pulling some shapes, hopefully trying to defeat the missile kinetically, as it is running out of speed, getting lost in the ground clutter here. More Talds coming off the wings. Well, the decoys are an interesting choice, as Werewolf fires a missile off the wings towards Huladao. Oh, my goodness, apologies if I butcher the names. Who is going very cold, relying on their teammates to cover them off, as this AIM-120C travelling at 2,000 knots is going to have to be spoofed by ground clutter. And certainly it has been. This F-15C at 41,000 feet, travelling at 1,100 knots, is coming in to merge. It is flying directly above Toro at the moment. And I wonder if Toro even know that it's up there, as we see an AIM-120C fired towards Zero Apple. Mikasu saying, I'm right above you now, and I'm coming down. Traveling at 850 indicated. Merging, potentially. And we can see that they're well within each other's ranges. But coming in at that sort of speed does impact your flight characteristics a little bit. And you have just got yourself an F-16 on your tail. But throughout all of the confusion, it almost seems as if they don't quite know it's there. The F-15 turns in and is now in a firing position. Gets a missile away, but it's too close. As they're merged with each other, this F-18 and this F-15, another missile off the wings, firing its gun, and going down. Unbelievable. Okay, Aspar in serious trouble here with missiles coming in. Gets one straight in the face. Werewolf, Lukovi, and Fur versus the 5 remaining members as Werewolf fires off an AIM-120C and gets one in return, but doesn't appear to have gone defensive just yet. This is a full-on merge happening here. As the J-11 flies directly over the top, we see a controlled flight into ground as another member of Toro goes down. We'll check the TAC view to see what happened there. And the J-11's just up here wondering what's going on. AIM-120C fired towards Lukovi. But it gets spoofed in amongst the trees. AIM-7. Don't tell me we're going to get an AIM-7 kill here. This thing's going to have to go stratospheric to hope to catch up with that J-11. And it has definitely lost lock. Lukovi firing AIM-9Ms now, as everyone's running low in their missile economy. No chance of that thing having the legs to make it. As we see Werewolf is launching short-range missiles against the J-11, which impact. But now Werewolf stuck with absolutely no ordnance whatsoever. Down to guns. What about Lukovi? Lukovi has one AIM-9M left. So throughout the entirety of Toro, there is one missile. Li Tong coming in with only AIM-9Ms left. Werewolf coming in, and if he had an AIM-120C, could probably do something, but is now coming in with nothing but guns to rely on. Lukovi fires an AIM-9M as 2 AIM-120Cs come off the wings. Look at this crossover. One towards Lukovi, one towards Werewolf. We'll see if Lukovi gets away from this one. Lukovi does. Oh, shit. Okay, there we go. Oh, my goodness. All right. Saved by pure physics there. Lukovi down to guns as well. What do you even do in this situation? With 4 members left to go, Zero Apple fires off an AIM-120 towards Werewolf. It's got the speed, but down low like this, they fly pretty tough. Will the ground clutter... Oh my god! Okay, right, okay. Werewolf gets passed by the skin of their teeth, but it looks like Lukovi caught a missile while we were watching that happen. This one making its way into the ground. Please get a guns kill for us. Please get a guns kill. As they are into merge territory, an AIM-120C coming in for Werewolf. The missile economy well and truly in ETF's favour. But has anyone got anything left? Only AIM-9Ms left for JXT. Faye has AIM-9Ms. Werewolf is faced with an impossible task. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm having lots of fun putting it on for you too, as we see AIM-9Ms coming off the rails here. But look at this beautiful low-terrain flight, spoofing those missiles without even the need for countermeasures. Oh, but your luck can only last so long. And down goes the last member of Toro, as the last four remaining Zero Apple, JXT, Fei, and Li Tong begin the long journey home. And I have been provided with TOROSQN, so I'll get that moving in the background. So the next round will have beautiful F-18 skins for you. All right. Let's make sure that I have what I need here. And I do. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So while they begin their journey home, let's have a look at some of the content that we missed on TACView. Was hoping for a comeback story? Well, there's still another round to go. So, let's have a look at what happened with the Talds. Fur 109, the first one to launch off a spray of Talds. As they begin their way. Throughout all of the different Tald shots, I believe we saw one that got shot. As they spread out and form a almost shield wall for the members of Toro as they progress towards them. And you can see the effect that this has on the EFF members, as it kind of pushes them back, but they eventually figure out that these are decoys and they're not worth engaging with. Yes, they are allowed to change loadouts. They are not allowed to change airframes. They can switch pilots between the airframes, but they cannot switch the airframes that they bring. Makasu just existing fairly uncontested up here, as look at this shot here. This missile coming in at Makasu, who's going at Mach 1.7 towards Toro 3 Balls, who's at only 23,000 feet and Mach 0.8. And that just comes in and impacts. The first missile, I think, where did it go? It was... yeah, Pyrox. Okay. Pyrox at 40,000 feet, traveling at Mach 1.6. Makasu traveling at 43,000 feet. Or rather, traveling at 41,000 feet, traveling at Mach 1.8. This AIM-120C traveling at Mach 4. To have a chance to get away from this missile, Pyrox would need to be defending now. But has committed to the line to try and get missile shot off, and sure enough, does. But it takes time to bring down into that thinner air, and when you're above 30,000 feet, these missiles don't bleed speed. Look at that speed. Mach 3, Mach 2.8, Mach 2.7, Mach 2.6. That's a Mach 2.6 missile impact. And that is difficult to get away from. The F-18's just not quite keeping up. Sticking behind their tiled wall, but it is a cool strategy. Here we see 3 Balls caught out at slightly higher altitude. An AIM-120C from Makasu, who is just the MVP here. Traveling uncontested. You can fire those AIM-120Cs in response, but they'll just lose too much speed climbing up to altitude. What was the range on that first shot past kill? Oh, I always forget what the measuring tape is in... Does anyone know how you get the ruler to work in TACView? It's been a while. In fact, we'll go from Makasu and Pyrox. Okay. 31 nautical miles. So, yeah, 25 nautical miles at this kind of speed. Right control plus left and right click, one for each. Left control. That one and that one. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, that missile comes in with intent. 3 balls goes down. Mark 2 off the rail. Yep. See if we can see that. Yeah, here we go. This is where the tildes start working. So FER 109 turns in and launches 3 tildes. We see Litong, knowing that there's a huge mix, just falls for it. Possibly a dogfight shot, and down goes a tilde. So it does work. The F-16s were left out to dry. Yeah, absolutely. What happened with that CFIT? So this is when things go a little bit haywire. How did Makasu get here? How do you get here with an F-15 all throughout your lines? Okie dokie. Just being asked for a dice roll as well. Apologies as I'm getting pulled in a few different directions at the same time. And as we see the valiant fighters of EFF begin to work their way back down to the runway. So in this competition, are any airframes prohibited? Absolutely not. If it's in the game, you can fly it. So I don't think you're allowed to bring helicopters. You won't make it into the circle in time. You haven't seen any Jeff action? Well, someone missed out on the first match that I cast, which contained ETF, Eclipse Task Force, flies an all JF-17 squadron, and they are some of the most experienced and highest quality pilots within the entire competitive DCS scene. I'll make sure I gather up the VODs on Monday and put them all on YouTube for you guys so that you can see the matches that have been and gone. But don't worry, no teams are knocked out yet, so there's still plenty of opportunity for everyone to see everyone fly. Oh, hey, Riker, how you going? Speaking of ETF, Riker, what would you say about the JF-17 within SATAC? Lots of people underestimate it as a platform. What makes you like it? We should host a BFM tourney and commentate? Oh my goodness. That would be good fun. That's a funny looking saberfish. Probably has little to no fuel left in it, but EFF, with any luck, will be securing the win, unless all 4 of them crash before making it back home. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate it, and I hope that you rest well. And that's a pretty textbook landing right there. A little bit bouncy, but we'll blame that on the desync. Alrighty, that secures round 1 for EFF. Talk about timing the music well, hey. The next one to come in is Zero Apple. This delightful Blue Angels camouflage. Wheels clipping through and everything. I mean, we love DCS and Eagle Dynamics, that's for sure. But they do, there are some quirks to this game. Last year I got pranked by some members of some teams flying F-18s. That puts, they had their custom liveries, and then I didn't realise until they were on their landing run that they had lewd art underneath their speed brakes, and I accidentally showed everyone on the internet some interesting artwork on the speed brake underside of a few jets. Remember, this is a Navy jet, so it really has to know that it's on the ground. So we'll get that landing gear given a thorough workout. It flies differently to other planes, which dissuades many people to learn it for an extensive period of time. Data link avionics and weapons are strong with the JF-17. However, the data link is broken at the moment since October in the JF, so we're waiting for ED to fix it. Since October, gosh. Crunch. No, it's the desync, don't you worry. Just one mention of loot art gets you guys all excited. I see that Faye has jettisoned even the racks for the AIM 120s. The poor old crew chief is going to have to go somewhere in the Caucasus Mountains and find some weapon racks for AIM 120Cs. Oh no, I've got the scores wrong. Sorry. My apologies. Yeah, you want to know exactly why I did that, Ruby? The reason that I did that is that somehow in every single match that I've cast so far, every single match that I have cast so far, the team on the left-hand side has been on the team that's scored any points. So out of habit, I adjusted the left score because it's always been the left score that goes up. But EFF proving impressive in this way. Imagine when we see some fulcrums next year. Ooh, it'll be early model MiG-29s. It'll be interesting to see whether or not they choose to take them. And kablam! Navy jet, safe and sound, on the deck. Last one to come in, JXT. Yes, I have always been very firmly of the attitude that if you can't fly without data link, then you don't deserve to have it. You love the JF-17? Me too. AlphaGator, I'm pretty sure that we have zero sum here now, so you can not use up too much of your mobile data. We see a more turny-burny MiG. Oh boy. They're some of the turniest and burniest planes there are. Clip through and the jet explode. It's only from our perspective. From the player's perspective, it's perfectly fine. Nose authority, boys. We will have it. Animarchy, you're not available to stream the match that has unfortunately lost their caster, have you? And down, down, down goes the last of the EFF jets. 4 making it home of the 6 that took off. A bloody battle to start things off. All right. Oh, Cert has it. Wonderful. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going back to the presentation screen. I've been asked to do the dice roll for the second match of the day. So, this dice roll is for the match that I won't be casting. It is... So give me 1 quick second and I will provide... Okay, so this dice roll isn't for this match. It's for the other. We'll go 3, 2, 1... It is map number 5. I'll pass that information on and let them know. Which will be Tbilisi versus Sukhumi, overcast afternoon with rain. So, first match over. As we get everything restarted here. I'll give you guys a chance to stand up and grab a drink, and we'll get everything going. I'll be right back. Who are you calling the Anthro Su-27? Okay, let's get DCS restarted so I can get TOROSQNs working. It's fair, it's just hilarious to you. So that, hey, look, you can call me whatever you like so long as you don't call me late for dinner. welcome in. And thank you for supporting me throughout these streams. Appreciate the follows. Beyond Visible Range, Pekad, The Real Sam, C130's Rule, Ibo Reki, Pavecat, and Matkus CZ. And thank you for the gifted sub as well, Animarchy. I hope that your podcast later today goes well, or as well as it can. No doubt there'll be some interesting commentary. The F4 is an interesting one. I doubt we'll see too much of it. We'll be stuck in the Sparrow dimension. It will definitely be a bit of a meme pick, but there's nothing wrong with proving that you're absolutely razor sharp with a platform that's a little bit out of date. What exciting adventures are on the agenda today? We're looking down the barrel of round 2 of today's match as we get into round 2. Awesome. I'm sure you guys are sick of looking at me. Let's give you something better to look at. As the members of EFF are making their way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and they're homebound. An absolute truck of ammunition, that's true. Fingers crossed, everyone. Let's see if we can see some beautiful F-18 skins on these Toro jets. There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. Beautiful. Oh, I'm glad we got that sorted out. These beautiful planes. Toro Squadron. This roundel, before I make a fool out of myself, let me quickly Google something. Spain. So the pilots of Spain showing up today. The raging bulls of the skies, as Pyrox and Aspar begin their journey down to the runway. No custom EFF skins. I did download some for them, but they don't appear to be working, or at least they haven't got them selected. Their skins were taken off the DCS World Workshop and appear to consist of characters from Honkai Impact. DCS equivalent of Area 88. Hey, look. Doesn't matter what you show up in. What matters is your fight. Maybe after the match ends, I'll see if I can show it to you. Yeah, there are advantages to bringing a mix of aircraft, that's for sure, but it can be difficult to organize them. Let's see if I can show you what skins they gave me. So, unfortunately, we can't see them, but this is the skin for the J11 on for EFF. I did test it before the stream, so you can just imagine that that's on there. The F-15's radar must be handy as hell. It certainly has plenty of range, but range isn't everything. Looking good? Hello, Seb, how are you? Speaking of looking good, let's have a look at these planes now that they've got all their paint on. Let's see if they bring TALDs again this time. We have another Blue Angel on the Toros team. Oh, apologies. This is the other side of the match. This me moving over to the blue side and having a look at our friends in EFF. What about me? Oh, I'm doing great. What more could I want? This EFF gets lined up. Li Tong, Mr. Fei Hudu Hilao. Dalao, fuck, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get that right. JXT, Zero Apple, Makasu, and BYD taking their places on the runway. Meanwhile, we see Toro begin forming up. And their beautiful formation looking all the better, seeing as I quickly ran down to the paint shop and got them to give me the correct paint so that I can see these polished metal airframes. EFF reports ready, and I reckon that Toro will say the same in no time at all. We'll get this ugly SRS overlay out of the way. All right, and we are ready to get started in round 2. Haven't seen very many F-15Es. I wonder what's up. For some teams, it's something as simple as cost that makes the F-15E unviable at the moment. The lack of data link does call into question whether or not it's worth bringing as opposed to the F-15C, which has an equally capable radar, even if the modelling is a little bit lower fidelity. As we see all of Toro's jets start making their way down the runway. They were in fabulously close formation earlier today, so hopefully we get to see a little bit of excitement from them. Electing not to bring their tolls this time, or at least not as far as I could tell. Yeah, this time thinking we got into a big merge this time, and you know what? I want AIM-9Ms. So, AIM-9Ms all over the place as we see EFF charging down the runway. No need for afterburners. You can't bring external tanks on these J11s. So keeping some of your fuel is always desirable. You wonder how the meta would change if costs and time to retrain on an airframe weren't factors. It's a good point. Part of the beauty of SATAC is that you can bring what you want and you can fly how you want, so nothing wrong with doing the best you can with what you have. Would people fly more SU-27s, more JF-17s? J-17s? Yeah, it would be an interesting dynamic, that's for sure. I have long since thought that the J-11s were a relatively underrated airframe when it comes to competitive PvP. Lots of people don't fly red aircraft just because they don't fly red aircraft, and not because of the capabilities of those airframes. So a lack of familiarity in different avionics systems can put people off, along with things like a slightly different radar warning receiver that lots of people don't tend to like. Maybe the only good thing about the flankers are the ETs. Well, I would disagree with you there. People underestimate this, and if you ever get the chance to watch the organizer of this event, the 51st PVO, we do have some TALDs actually. If you ever get to see the 51st PVO fight, you'll see that they make excellent use of... There we go. We got some TALDs. They make excellent use of the R27ERs, which, somewhat surprisingly, are almost the fastest missiles in the game. Oh, I know some people who would disagree with you powerfully about the SD-10, that's for sure. Certainly, I feel like some of these planes would quite like to swap out their AIM-120s for SD-10s, especially as we're getting to see a little bit of the AMRAAM shaker, as sometimes these missiles lose a bit of speed. Ooh, we're getting into a missile capabilities fight. I just cast the matches, I don't know. I don't know anything. All I know is that the teams are currently 117 nautical miles away from each other. The HE-51 biplane. Yeah, we haven't seen too many HE-51 biplanes in SATAC, and none of the teams have elected to bring the Christensen Eagle 2 either. But if we're lucky, maybe we'll see a team that shows up in one MiG-21, two F-5s, a Viggen, and a MiG-19. I need to bring a Mosquito. Yep. And someone down there gets a free canoe as the centerline tank drops away from the lead F-16s. As they are out of sippies in the centerline tank. The battle area is contested. That means the fight's on. We're seeing EFF elect to go a little bit closer towards the mountainous terrain down here. Any contrails in the sky? Yeah, we can see a few. They're not going as high as they did last time. But it does give you a bit of an idea of the speeds that they're traveling at. We see that Blue Angels livery streak through the sky. Makasu at high altitude, hopefully not left to their own devices and kind of lonely in the absence of any competition at high altitude. By bringing funky airplanes, I think it would be a struggle. I think the capabilities of certain radars would just be a little bit too much of a disadvantage to get away with on certain planes. And look at this beautiful flying wing as we see TOROSQN make their way into the battle space. Of course, Alpha Gator, don't you worry. The baddies in Kotobuki. So we see the F-16s blazing north and south as the F-18s streak down the middle. Over here on the other side, we see a looser formation, but they have all made it into the battle area now. The J-11 and F-15C pincering throughout the top. Terribly quiet if you're just in front of these airframes as they break through the sound barrier. I wonder what the thought is with this formation here. Three balls is in the back. Just kind of scooting around the three-ship formation of F-18s. Bluetooth missile pylons, yeah boy. Secret Chinese J-11 technology. If the mounts to get the SD-10s to fit don't exist, then just put them in the right place and they'll just snap there, you know? If you spawn in a J11 and you have access to the tool gun from Gary's mod, you can just use the weld tool to attach the SD10s to the airframe. You just have to remember to press Z every time you want to fire one so it falls off. The Bluetooth mode is now connected. Wonder how much drag they're saving there? I don't know. As we see Aspar streaking towards Makasu with a 10... This is the fight that we saw last time. An F-16 facing off against the F-15. The F-15 with an altitude advantage, so hopefully they don't get complacent and make the same mistake twice. These AIM-120Cs looking like they're just about ready to go wild. And sure enough, the first shot comes off as we see an AIM-120C fired towards Aspar, traveling at 2,500 knots at 44,000 feet. Aspar not reacting just yet. No loft? No. It may be due to ECM. Don't let it happen again. Come on, defend. No, it impacts again. Bugger. The F-15 gets another kill. In exactly the same way as the first round. And this missile just not traveling fast enough to catch up, I think. And we see the AMRAAM shaker as it loses too much speed to keep up and begins wiggly squiggly through the sky. Makasu feeling pleased that somehow they managed to pull off the same trick twice. The first spread of Talds now in the air, flying quietly as they bang away on the radar, saying, "Hey, I'm an F-18. Shoot at me." BYD beginning to cruise on in with Bluetooth SD10s. No launches just yet, but an AIM-120C coming off the wings from Lookovi. Looking like it might be making its way towards Faye, who isn't defending just yet, but they're certainly going not enormously fast, but looks like they've picked up the potential of a missile. Magic SD-10s. Faye going, "Oh, I'd probably better defend against this missile." As this AIM-120C says, "I don't want to do this no more," and decides to make a new home in the Caucasus Mountains, with unfortunately nothing to hit. BYD launches an SD-10 towards likely 3 balls, undoing the invisible fishing line holding this missile to the airframe. 3 balls going, oh, balls. That missile has got some speed. 3 balls gets hit by an SD-10, but a J11 has got 1 in return and turns into a smoking mess. You're not going to get away with that one for free. AIM 120Cs in both directions. Let's see if they can defend against this one. Bang! No luck as that missile connects. This is getting brutal. It is 4v4. Some unlucky losses for Toro, who appear to be much more at home at lower altitudes. Werewolf launching towards Makasu, who's at 44,000 feet. And if not careful, this stratospheric missile, will it have the legs to make it up? Doesn't quite look like it, but we'll keep an eye on it. Makasu going defensive as an AIM 120C smokes through the sky. Makasu looks like it has spoofed this missile, which has run out of legs. That's the problem with firing up at high altitudes. Werewolf receives a missile from Zero Apple, who hasn't fallen for the tolds. This missile with some speed. But it looks like Werewolf will get away from this one. No impact and no factor. Zero Apple pushing the attack now. So we have an AIM 120C with no energy as Faye and Pyrox fire missiles in both directions. Pyrox has a slightly better launch here. Faye is just going to have to rely on a little bit of fancy flying to get away from this one. Dropping the tanks to get a little bit of extra speed. And it looks like, oh, Faye is going to get away from this missile by inches. Pyrox comfortably getting away from it. Lukovi and Zero Apple looking for the fight. Lukovi very comfortable at low altitude, carrying 6 AIM 9Ms. Just have to make sure you don't become friends with the ground. Lukovi, oh, Jesus. Might have had to pull the paddle switch for a second there. AIM 120C coming in towards Lukovi, but with that degree of hiding in the terrain, it's not ever going to find him. And it is well and truly spoofed. This match is going to get down and dirty. Current separation is only 8 nautical miles. Pyrox and Lukovi in the southern group as Werewolf fires off an AIM 120C against Faye, who effectively managed to get away from the first one, but is they going to get away from this one? The no escape zone for an AIM 120C is realistically somewhere between 6 and 8 nautical miles, but it doesn't quite have the speed or altitude and becomes one with the terrain. Makasu cruising around at 40,000 feet. As Pyrox knows that they're up there. JXT pushing towards Pyrox. Looks like they're breaking off the attack, likely a missile expected to be coming in. And we are getting deadly close as they are separated by only 5 nautical miles. These missiles are deadly at these ranges. AIM 120Cs launched double time, one against Zero Apple and one against Faye. This one against Zero Apple is going to hit a tree. This one against Faye probably doesn't have the legs as it's in the thickest air possible. Faye, once again, flying in formation with an AIM 120C. Feeling very confident about having the range to get away. Makasu up here at 40,000 feet with 1 AIM 120 left and not doing much to help the team just at the moment. Faye and Lukovi look like they're about to joust again. Okay, no big trouble happening here, except an AIM-120C from Pyrox, launched against the indomitable spirit of Faye, who seems to just be able to dodge missiles infinitely, turning cold. Pulling some high G turns to get away from this missile, and it certainly has lost all its energy. AIM-120C is launched in both directions. Makasu fires downwards at this AIM-120C, which will have plenty of ground clutter to contend with, and the AIM-120C launched in response is just running out of juice before it even gets up to 40,000 feet. Missile stocks must be running low for both teams at the moment. May well come down to be beneficial that they didn't bring... Oh, that's a long-range shot of an AIM-120C towards Pyrox, who's going to have all the time in the world to turn cold. As that missile just loses track of anything. Faye launching an AIM-7. That's how you can tell this match is getting on in minutes. And this might come down to mergers. As Fair comes along, still with 3 AIM-120s. Will they finally have the range to do this high-altitude shot? That missile comes off the rails against Makasu, who is just going to have to do something to try and get away. And it looks like it got spoofed by the maneuvering. Very lucky escape there for Makasu. IM Fighter, it was done at the request of the participants who felt that it gave a little bit of a competitive edge to the J11 that they felt it wanted. So, a conscious choice. We have Lukovi down to AIM-9Ms, but has 6 of them. An AIM-120C launched from Faye, and another AIM-120C launched from JXT. This one heading towards Lukovi. Come on, Lukovi. Oh, no! And it impacts. Lukovi runs out of luck, and the ground clutter does not save them from that one. It is now a 3v4, and the absence of those AIM-9s is going to be felt. Sparrows and 9Ms left for Werewolf, who is very close to Makasu, who only has Sidewinders. They're well within merge now. And Werewolf hopefully pulling in, dumping some countermeasures. You've got an F-15 just off to your left within visual range. And an AIM-120C coming for you as well. As you hear the missile miss just by centimeters. And look, it's a merge. He's right in front of you. Put your nose on him and kill him. He's right there. This is a mix-up of epic proportions as they merge with each other. Now the F-16's getting involved in the fight. Missile comes off the wings from the... Oh, don't tell me. I thought Pyrox lost it there for a sec. Makasu in serious trouble with Pyrox. Pyrox dodges by centimeters that AIM-120C. AIM-9's fired as the planes cross in the air. It's BFM now. The nose comes around. Gunfire. And down goes Makasu for the first guns kill that we've seen so far. Fair 109. in the mix with Zero Apple. AIM-120C coming off the rails. Might catch by surprise, as I think that it may have been doubtful that there was still any AIM-120Cs in play. This certainly has kill potential. And it impacts. It's a 2v2. Thur 109 defending hard against this AIM-120 with 2 AIM-9Ms and 2 Sparrows left to work with. Meanwhile, Zero Apple with Sparrows and 1 AIM-9M and 1 AIM-120C can certainly make something happen here. Werewolf is going to have to come and help his friend quick as he can. Launches a AIM-9M off the rail against Zero Apple. Zero Apple comfortably defeats that. And there's another AIM-9M, but it's already been spoofed. Zero Apple with Werewolf in tow. 2 AIM-9Ms left. And they're merging. This will come down to guns at this range. A missile off the rails, but at that kind of angle of attack, it's going to be difficult. Another AIM-9M. Too much off ball. Oh, it connects. That AIM-9M gets in. And Faye is now the last remaining member. But launches an AIM-9M and impact. So it is now down to Fair and Faye. Fair having 2 Sparrows and 2 Winders left. Faye having nothing but guns. Let's keep our eyes on Fair, who has the missile advantage here in a big way. This has to be one of the most exciting fights as they merge with each other. Missile comes off. Impact. That is a cleanup by Toro, who now has to make it back with their one single plane left. What a spectacular bit of fighting as the weapon racks come off. No need for these anymore. Let's get them off. Oh, that's what it's all about. That kind of flying. That'll put some hair on your chest. That'll get you excited. Alright. Oh no! And the TAC view... Oh, never mind. The TAC view did work. Let's just make sure this is working the way I want it to. Perfect. Well, what a tangle it was down there. Makasu getting lucky with the early first shot that lands against an F-16 again. Range between them is 25 nautical miles at the launch, and Aspar just doesn't get away. When you're messing around at that kind of altitude, you're going to be in tough times. Faye just dodging missiles left and right. The second kill from the high altitude fighter, heading in towards 3 balls. The separation between these two planes at time of launch, about 18 nautical miles, and it connects. Let's have a look whilst this fight continues. Messy tangle down low. As missiles fly in all directions. And we see the first of several mergers happen here, as Makasu is deeply in a tangle with Pyrox and Werewolf all over him. Those AIM-9s just missing by centimetres. And here is the moment we've all been waiting for. Bang! That's a guns kill. Let's have one more look, going at Mark 0.2. The F-18, an absolute monster when it comes to low speed fighting. What a shot. And then it all comes down to this. These two pilots coming in towards each other. AIM-9's launched at decently long range, but no track. And Werewolf finally gets the firing solution to deal with this one. The flares won't always save you. The energy advantage relatively even between these two planes. But a missile comes off the wing, but too high angle off bore as they turn around. And another AIM-9 comes off the rails, this one comfortably locking on to the rear-facing heat signature. But Werewolf caught out of position by Faye, who shows up seconds too late to save his friend. And it's Toro and Faye as they head into the mix. Faye turning cold, well aware of the fact that there's no missiles left on that airframe, whereas Toro is flush with weapons. That AIM-9 not falling for the flares and heading straight in. With any luck, that'll bring us to 1-1. FER looking like they have plenty of fuel to get back. Have to remember as well that the blood will be pumping, adrenaline will be coursing through your veins, and something as simple as landing can get very difficult when you're faced with being the one and only remaining member of your team. Heading back over to Sakumi. Lights on. No pressure at all. Battle-weary F-18 coming back home. The crew chief's on the ground wondering where everyone else went. I think we all need to catch our breath after that fight. FER 109. With no one to fly in formation with. But the airfield is right there. waiting for its brave pilot to come back home. Not long to go now. F-15 getting low was a big mistake. Yeah. But then again, it was kind of only down to winders, so didn't have too much of a choice. Runway in sight. Still has both of their engines on, so still has the fuel needed, I think. No need for anything fancy. Just get her down safe. All I can say is thank goodness that the landing conditions are not bad weather at the moment, because the last thing you'd need after a fight like that is coming in to heavy cloud. And it is good. Well done. Yeah, you can stop right there. All right. Well done. Let's give the instruction to restart and make it happen. I think he changed his numbers to 001. The only one left. Change your squadron numbers to 001 on the sides. I guess that is fair enough. Here we see Aspar, Azamen, Fair, Lukovi, Kistoy, Pirox, Werewolf, Mustang, Parker, Roma, and Ranky. Get zero sum to kick off the server restart. With 2 matches going on at the same time, it can be tricky to get everything all mixed up. And the server is restarting. We'll have a quick break just while we grab a drink and prepare for round 3. Get the teams to spawn in and get ready to go. Be back with more SATAC shortly. Welcome back, guys. It's time for round 3 on this frighteningly cold match of SATAC. As everyone gets ready for their final round, it is currently 1-1. Let's do a poll. Cast your votes now for the team that you are pegging your hopes on for round 3. As everyone gets ready, started up, lined up, and excited for some excellent DCS action. Names that we've become familiar with as the match has proceeded. Turn off these grid lines. And have a look as everyone starts making their way down. BYD in the J11, heading down towards the runway. Had some good luck with an SD10 at the start of the match. I just realised, is today the Super Bowl? Why would you want to watch something like that when there's something cool like this happening? Weapons on wings at Blue Angel's camouflage. Not necessarily blending into the snow, but you know what? You can wear whatever you like. You'd much rather watch DCS than the superb Owl. Playing Tism for the win. You gotta love it. EFF winning the poll for round 3. We'll see if they live up to your expectations. The heavy fighters taking the lead for EFF. Aerial fisticuffs. There's no better name for it. Okay. We just need them to tell us that they are ready, which they will be in no short order. I have no doubt. The familiar honking sound of F-18s powering up. Looks like Fur 109 not bringing any TALDs this time. The strategy having mixed results, but it seems that in anticipation of things going low and brutal, we are seeing plenty of extra AIM-9Ms being brought on these F-18s. We waiting for one last F-18? Ranky is stepping in. EFF reporting ready. Both teams provided kindly by the event organisers with a E3. Great big spinning pizza plate on the top there, providing plenty of Overwatch. What did you miss? Oh, you missed some very intense fighting as these teams have been duking it out, very evenly matched in terms of ability. All right, Pavecat, thank you. I'll make sure that the VOD is available so that you guys don't miss a thing. Hopefully Ranky can get moving shortly. Am I streaming your fight next weekend? Which team do you belong to? An important side note as well, guys, is that I will be casting another match today in 1 hour between the Art of Warfare and Bushido Fighter Group. All right, everyone's lined up and ready. Oh, I'm glad you guys are having a good time. Oh, it looks like looks like the Tolds are making a comeback. As we see a couple of them being brought on the wings. Not as many as round one. And that's the order to go. Let's see these teams take off. There we have it. The last of the Toros taking off down the runway. Plenty of speed and intent on those planes, don't you worry. Meanwhile, Makasu leads the way in the F-15. As we see Faye and another F-16 waiting for their chance to go. Careful of that wake turbulence behind those big planes. There we have it. Up, up, and away safely. Both teams taking to the skies in round 3. See if we can mix up the music a little bit. Get something quite... There we go. All right. The circle awaits. Just have to do some behind the scenes things here. Okay. Looking good. Current separation between the teams is pretty far, as we see 160 nautical miles. Makasu heading up to 33,000 feet. Yes, 1-1. The last match went down to guns and short-range missiles. Fur 109 sitting there, given Tulled duty again. Those decoys evidently being seen as being worth it for the fellas. Oh, at work at the moment? No worries. That work is not too bad, Tech. Have we got any members of Bushido Fighter Group or the Art of Warfare watching us at the moment? Looks like Pyrox is going to be the first one. I can only cross my fingers and hope and pray that we do not see a long-range AIM-120C shot from the F-15 take out an F-16 again. Yes, we're still in the group stages. Blue takes control of the battle area with Pyrox leading the charge, Makasu going even further south this time than both times before. Everyone envious of the amount of fuel that these F-15s can carry. And it's time to turn into the circle. Current separation is 108 nautical miles. F-18s in a looser formation. One low, one high, two in the middle. I might need a link to that zero sum because I'm having trouble finding them. I can only find the ones from last year. Lots of teams have updated since then. All right. Current separation, 74 nautical miles. Looks like Pyrox and Makasu are heading for the joust again. BYD is going to be quite lonely all the way up the top here, quite a long way away from anyone from Toro just yet. Meanwhile, the F-18s have closed ranks into a tight formation. Gaggle of birds all sitting comfortably together. Currently looking good. All right. Perfect. Makasu, smelling blood in the water here, has managed to get a cheeky kill twice at the start of each round. Burning with aggression towards Toro Squadron. But it doesn't look like Pyrox is going to fall for it twice. as the F-16s switch places, the southern one heading north and the northern one heading south, and not at any kind of altitude at the moment. They're not going to fall for the same trick twice. However, Pyrox may be running square into the face of BYD at a current separation of 49 nautical miles. Makasu just blazing forwards. Possibly realizing that the kills won't be served on a silver platter this time. Makasu, I think, realizing that they are quite a long way forward now. Breaking off this attack this time, but still with plenty of speed. And here we see Thur launching a Tald. Sneaky little unit, going to hopefully provide a little bit of a distraction. Empty pylon on the F-15. Yes, the F-15s often decide not to bring outer sidewinders or weapons on the outer pylons of the wing. I believe it's a drag-related thing, as the speed benefit of doing this is considered pretty useful. Now, has this Tald successfully garnered the attention of an SD-10? Another Tald coming out for Thur. And another one. This SD-10 blazing forwards, the J-11, the first one to fire a lethal weapon this match. Doesn't look like it's tracking the F-18. Is this going to catch itself a missile? The Talds work, and that SD-10 catches itself a Tald. No factor. The Talds this time appearing to have the desired effect. Makasu at 45,000 feet. Not a factor in the fight so far. Fur 109 currently engaged in the mix. 3 more Talds left, leaving plenty of opportunities to spoof the competition, and one more off the wings unfolds its body and begins making noise as EFF, much more cautious this time. Still 6 in the air. Faye barreling down towards nothing but Talds in this direction. Hopefully detecting that that target up there is not moving, as Makasu begins barreling towards the formation of Toro one more time, looking for something to fire at, and a missile comes off. But an AIM-120C has been launched in response by Lukovi. Climbing up, but it's going to have a lot of air to contend with. And it's just not going to have the legs to catch up, it looks like. No luck, and this AIM-120C looking like it hasn't found anything of note. Potentially heading in towards Aspar. Thur launches the last of the Talds. Those pylons now empty. They have been suitably confusing this time, if for nothing more than the purposes of keeping them distracted. Faye not falling for the Tald, flying straight past it. Lukovi and Faye currently only 12 nautical miles apart, as Makasu turns away to the west, and BYD at 40,000 feet as well, One SD-10 launched, and only a towed kill to its name. Werewolf launches at Li Tong. Missile with speed and loft. We can just see Li Fei right down there. This missile has some slightly deadly aura if you get complacent about it. But turning cold just in time to spoof this missile. And this one has no effective track against its desired target. Li Tong comfortably dodging that missile. No factor. This is still quite a mix. Atolls cruising along 300 knots. And not fooling anyone. Makasu and BYD, both above 40,000 feet. Makasu at 47,000. But did not get lucky with the kills this time. Sound barrier in shambles as this jet goes wild. Another SD-10 comes off the rails. BYD launches down, potentially towards Lukovi, as an AIM-120C is fired in response, but doesn't appear to have the legs to get anywhere. And an R-27ET as well. Is that going for... No, it's not. I thought for a brief moment that it might have been going for... Oh no! And the SD-10 connects. The first one goes down for Toro. That is unlucky. R-27ET with no track whatsoever. That missile has gone away. The R-77. Those distinctive grid fins at the back. Famously draggy missile, losing speed. And FER is going to get away comfortably from that one. So, the first loss comes from Toro, as Makasu is only 10 nautical miles away from Werewolf, who has launched an AIM-120C towards Fei. Werewolf goes ice cold, diving down at a huge amount of speed, dumping countermeasures as they go. AIM-120Cs launched in both directions. One coming up towards Makasu. Is Makasu going to be fast enough to get away? Only just. Missiles struggling to make it up to this altitude. This missile going towards Aspar. And it does have energy. Aspar turning hard. Just needs to keep up the turn. And gets or turn the other way now and gets away with it. There we go. AIM-120C launched towards Fur at short range. This is going to be tricky to get away from. And it impacts Fur. Not lucky this time. It is 4v6. Pyrox, Ranky, Aspar and Werewolf. Those still standing as the J11 from BYD comes in. AIM-120Cs traded in both directions between Fei and Werewolf. Both of them turning cold after their launches. This missile going to have a tough time catching up with Werewolf. Unless Pyrox comes along and catches its attention, but does not. An ET, an SD-10, Ranky gets hit. Ranky goes down. And this ET just about has the legs. No radar warning on this heat seeker here. It is a 3v6 at the moment. Toro looking like it's a tough fight so far. BYD has an AIM-120C coming in at not much range at all. This is probably going to have the energy to kill unless BYD can get lucky with a notch. But it doesn't look like it. BYD goes down. It is now 5v3. AIM-120C coming in towards Li Tong, who I was going to say isn't reacting, but it wasn't hot against them. Li Tong fires towards Aspar. Aspar with an enormously high off-bore sight shot. This missile coming in towards Aspar. The only saving grace will be losing it in the ground clutter. And it looks like it has been lost. And the other one splashes into the mountains. The terrain proving to be the biggest hurdle for these teams to overcome, as Werewolf and Pyrox are caught a little bit out in the open. A missile coming in towards Pyrox. Pyrox fires in return. Pyrox got to be careful here, but it connects and Pyrox goes down. 2v5. AIM-7P coming out from Zero Apple. Likely just a distraction. This missile without the legs to catch up to any members of EFF. AIM-120Cs and AIM-9Ms coming in towards Werewolf, who is going to have a hell of a time trying to get away from this. Pulling some maneuvers, but not lucky enough, and an AIM-120C finds its way. Aspar, the one remaining pilot for Toro. Only AIM-9Ms on the wings. We see one of these 9Ms go off the wing. Aspar has a 120 coming in. And oh god, that couldn't have been closer. Proximity fusing doing EFF no favors here. Current separation as Aspar goes as cold as they can. Only 5 nautical miles. At this point, it's a fight for your life. But was that a C-fit? Or was that a missile kill? We'll have to check the TAC view. Oh no. My TAC view was out of date. Shoot. Sorry, the real-time telemetry didn't connect in time after the server restart. My apologies. The tree won. Killed by tree. Red takes control of the battle area. And that's it. A comfortable victory in the 3rd round for EFF. Those trees, they'll get you. DCS, the one winner is always the ground. Okay. Time to return to base for the members of EFF. Oh no. Didn't mean to do that. After a hard-fought battle, Zero Apple, I don't think quite remembers which side of the map they started on. You have to go the other way. There we go. Aspar decides that they're on the red team and that it's time to go home. Well, that was a fearsome battle. But it looks like EFF comes out on top for this one. As I have to do a little bit of behind the scenes. Congratulations, EFF Toro is a great team. Absolutely. Oh, and Mikasu, I think. What happened there? Unfortunately, the... Oh, you know what? Let's have a look. Apologies, the TAC view didn't catch the fight. But I have a feeling that Mikasu used up every single little bit of juice that they had in that F-15. No surprises. They punched off the tanks before they even started firing and stayed in burner at high altitude for the entire thing. And Mikasu here looking for a suitable road. Unfortunately, the trees win again. And we see the one aircraft everyone in DCS owns, a parachute. EFF managed to cinch the win this time. That is, of course, contingent on their return back to base. But considering that Faye is in burner at the moment, I don't think fuel is too much of a worry. We have another match in 30 minutes between Bushido Fighter Group and the Art of Warfare. So while they return to base, I'll get everything set up for the next stream. And of course, if any of the participants would like to quickly come and have an interview, we will not have much time. The next matchup is between Bushido Fighter Group and the Art of Warfare. And it ought to be a good one. This F-18 guy is called Mr. Flying Tiger. Oh, I see. Fehu Duidalao. Fehu Duidalao. I'm probably saying that very badly. But I assume that this, oh, AIM-9Ms floating through the sky. I assume that this team is Chinese, and as a result are probably fighting this match after celebrating the Lunar New Year. The Year of the Dragon. Okay. Time for me to start spamming people, because they do not provide me with what I want. I hope they had an awesome holiday. Right? I hope so too. Well, yes, the Flying Tiger's famous for the shark-mouthed P-40s. American volunteers flying in China. Guys going fast, fast, fast. And heading in towards the landing area. An excellent fight from Toro and EFF. See if we can get them to come in and say... Couple of celebratory flares coming out. I think that's a well-earned cheer. Good flying, Aspar. Oh, look. It was a tough fight. Round 2 has to be one of the most exciting battles I think we've had in SATAC so far. Your team flew beautifully. Oh, second guessing the decision to put out the wheels. Both groups. Oh, yeah. It's important to remember at what level these guys are flying at. Still throwing leaves from your mouth? Well, Aspar, have you got a brief moment to be interviewed, if that's okay? Or any members from your team? Okay, tower, no skins. Perfect. Looks like everyone's taking the chance to show off a little bit. Why wouldn't you? After winning a match like that. The J11 guy is Silverwolf, and he's really dangerous. I played with him and he got a triple kill at that time. Well, that in round 2, that SD10 came in like a lightning bolt from heaven. And, certainly smack down onto them. Okay. Beautiful flying. All involved. You're welcome to come and join in on the Discord, members of EFF and members of Toro. If you want to have a quick hello, But it'll be a lightning fast turnaround as we get prepared for the second match. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I think that cinches it for EFF. Congratulations to them on cinching victory. Steal an F-35 from a USA airfield. Oh, if only, if only. In fact, now that we have the chance, let's see if I can hop into one of their F-16s and see if I can see this skin. Let's see. Okay, this was the skin that I was given. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. Fortunately, it didn't quite show up this time, but as you can see, looking good. Oh, and I've done something. What have I done? So, no luck, but never mind. Anime girls, I know. Terrific, isn't it? What is this person's name? Seems so familiar. Excellent flying. Looks like we have JXT and Zero Apple, the last ones to come in. Would have been awesome to see those skins in the fights. Well, in the next match, it looks like we have some beautiful skins to get some use out of as well. One thing that happens every time I host SATAC is that my DCS installation folder, or at least my saved games folder, gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's like 100 gigabytes of all these players' beautiful skins, but I don't mind. Terrific. Don't forget that there's another match in 20 minutes between Bushido and the Art of War. Or rather, why do I always say the Art of War? It's because I was in a group that was called the Art of War back in the day, but this is the Art of Warfare, which is a little bit different. Through Apple coming in. Of course, it's my pleasure, Aspar. If you would like to come and say hello, I'm in the Discord at the moment. You can come and say hello to me and have a quick talk about your fight. But if not, that's okay. We can get ready for the next one. Your family? No worries then. Thank you for flying, and thank you for participating. I hope it was lots of good fun. One more plane to come down. Will be exciting. Hopefully we get a chance to speak to Toro later on in the competition so that we can get a chance to hear about their strategy behind the usage of tolls and all the rest. And of course, while this event isn't about me, be sure that I am thankful for everyone who supports me during it. Thank you for the follows: Stuck86, Werewolf Lover, Armoni Skies, Beton Yeezy, First Cap, and Aspar. Much appreciated. And the last plane for EFF touches down gently as they begin taxiing along. And, uh-oh, little bit of aircraft fraternization happening here. Will they be able to sneak themselves in for this little disaster? Don't worry, Silent Kookaburra, there is another one in just over 15 minutes between Bushido Fighter Group and the Art of Warfare. Alright, I'm going to give the instruction to restart the server so that the TAC files save and sign off for now. As we prepare for the next match. Alright guys, thank you very much for being here. I'm going to shut down the stream and get everything ready for the next round. It'll involve just a little bit of setup time, and then once we're ready, spaghetti, I will be going live again. Of course, if you enjoy my content, want to keep up to date, my pleasure about the stream, please feel free to join my Discord. You'll get pinged when these events start and I do my regular live streams. You can also follow me on Twitter. Alright guys, I'm going to close it up and get ready for the next round. I'll be back in 15 minutes.